to sidebar real quick because you mentioned that you were teaching tennis. And I
Mm-hmm.
noted, and your Twitter handle is pickleball
Pickleball
gamer,
gamer, yes.
pickleball gamer. You know how sometimes things take off and you don't have any clue about them, and then they've been around, and you don't want to be the guy that asks because what is pickleball? Because it looks, I mean, I've seen the court. It looks
Yeah,
like it's about the same size court as badminton.
and it's funny. You don't want to be that guy that asks, but honestly, and my wife can tell you, I get phone calls, I'll get texts, I'll get messages on Facebook or on Twitter or anything from people I've never even met that will be asking me about pickleball, and they find my name through someone else, usually through tennis. But pickleball is basically a miniature version of tennis. It's a combination of basically tennis, badminton, racquetball, and the easiest way to explain it, if you're familiar with ping pong,
Hmm.
it is like playing ping pong except you're actually standing on the table, and it's a world of fun. It is when you compare it to tennis. Tennis is such a physical game and really hard to learn and master. Pickleball, we could go out, if you've never seen it, never heard of it, we could go out and I could actually have you playing games in 10 to 15 minutes. It takes very little to actually start playing. It is much tougher to become really good at it and a master of it, let's say. But it is what really attracts everybody is number one, you get playing really quick and it's easy to start playing, but then it is so social. You will go out if you're going out to play like with tennis or most other sports. You go out, you get one or two or three people, four people, you go play. Pickleball, you're liable to have 30 people out there playing at the same time,
The
and they're
same game?
rotating. Well, not in the same game, but they're
Like,
all there at
woo!
the courts. And
Oh.
one game can last 10, 15, 20 minutes tops,
Uh-huh.
and you'll rotate off the court, and other people will rotate on, and you can play with different people constantly. But all these people are on the sideline waiting to take their turn. Well, you're socializing, and so coming out of COVID, where everybody was away from everybody, all the courts were locked down. In my opinion, that's part of the reason pickleball has exploded,
Hmm.
and it's because it's such a social game, and
Right.
people are just attracted to it because you're around other people. And for the most part, you of course with anything you do, you find some people you don't get along with, but for the most part, it is everybody's super nice and inviting, and have a great time. So
Well,
So,
they converted part of the park in Vicksburg
mm-hmm.
to pickleball courts, and it's like six courts in a really tight area. And
Yeah,
so I noted, and it had to be something if the city of Vicksburg actually jumped on it because
yeah,
we're
they
Mississippi, we're 50 years behind everybody.
you're a
Uh,
number
and yes,
50 in everything.
and
But in Rome is known as a tennis town along with other sports. And I saw Alice saying, yes, you could be a tennis pickleball star. You never know. But Rome had I managed the city courts, and we had 16 courts that were built back in 1991, and then we built a new tennis facility that had 60 courts. Well, they took the downtown facility, the original one, and took 8 of those courts away, and we now have 22 pickleball courts outside. And so it's exploding in Rome. It's exploding everywhere. There's indoor facilities in Macon, Georgia. They have an old mall that has basically it's shut down. There was no stores in it. Been empty for years. The city bought it. They moved their city offices into the mall, and
Hmm.
then they put pickleball courts throughout the mall. And so they were the first big mall to basically turn it into an indoor pickleball facility, and they're hosting their first tournament sometime next month, I believe,
oh wow,
That's so
and having a
crazy.
grand opening. Yeah, and there's other states that are taking other cities that are taking that cue from Macon that are turning malls because we all know retail is struggling so bad in the
Hmm.
brick and mortar, especially the malls. Amazon and everything online is hurt retail so much, and so a lot of these malls are closing, and so there's other places that are converting empty malls now that they can't do anything with. They're converting
Wow.
them into indoor pickleball courts,
So,
and so
was
yeah, it's crazy.
pickleball just invented, or is that something that's been around and it's just like you said, exploded because of COVID.
Well, it's been around, and it's been around since '65, I believe. That's when it was
Really?
invented. In Washington State, a family invented it, basically something for their grandkids to entertain them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's evolved from back then. I actually played it the first time I ever played it. I was in middle school, and I was lucky enough to have a PE teacher who was a coach, and so like every week he would introduce a just random sport to us.
Sure.
And pickleball was one of those things where the family had created a pickleball set that they picked up, like Walmart or somebody would sell it in a
Uh-huh.
sporting goods section. And so he would go and buy all these different sports, then would introduce the classes to it, and we'd have to do a test at the end of the week and stuff. But that was the first time I got introduced to pickleball, and then hadn't seen nothing of it for years, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was interviewing for a job at a club, and as I was there looking at the facility and everything for tennis, I hear pop, pop, pop. And I'm like, what in the world is that? And I go around the building and look, and there's about 30 people out there playing pickleball on 3 courts. So
Uh-huh.
only 12 could be out there at a time. Everybody standing around talking, having a good time. I went and just joined in, and they had no idea who I was. They were just like, here, won't you come play? Come on, here's your paddle. Let's go play. And that's how I got exposed to it again and fell in love with it. It's a lot of fun.
All I heard is it's been around since '65. So, and I've been around since '66. So there's still time for me to explode.
Oh yeah,